President Furukawa is spitting big facts about a number of big Nintendo Switch topics at a recent investors call where they asked him a bunch of questions, some very simple and basic, some very complex, and all focused on Nintendo and their Switch. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Gabe is here, and on a day where we found out that the Switch is only 5,000 units behind the PlayStation 4 in total lifetime sales in Japan, and that includes the PS4, the PS4 Pro, like the whole PS4 family, they're only 5,000 units behind, 8.042 million to 8.047 million. Furukawa had to answer his investors. They're very concerned, they are very inquisitive, and they want to know what is going on with the Switch and what Nintendo's vision is for the future.
Anytime Furukawa speaks, Zach, I open up my ears. I stretch them out, as a matter of fact. I grab my earlobes and I stretch as far as I can to the point of pain because I need to know what the president of my favorite console right now has to say. And he has a lot to say about a lot of things. Like you said, it's not all big stuff necessarily, but hey, he speaks, we listen, and we tell you what he says.
Yeah, a big focus on online, on a variety of software, on China, and we got to get into it because Gabe, his dedication to that ear-stretching thing is starting to freak me out. One that I wanted to focus on here is a question about how Nintendo Switch Online has reached 9.8 million subscribers, but are people coming and going, and what's making them come, what's making them stay, what's making them leave? You know, are people joining for Smash and then dropping out? And Furukawa says, yeah, that they are seeing people that do jump in for a couple of months around the holiday season or around a big game and then leave, but they are finding people are staying, and Tetris 99 is something that they really like to use as an incentive to get people to subscribe and to get people to stay, and that they want to have more offerings like that. He said, to expand Nintendo Switch Online even further, we need to continue offering elements like Tetris 99 that highlight the distinct value of Nintendo Switch Online.
It'd be a lie to say that we're like super hardcore into Tetris 99, but I maintain that the game is a bunch of fun. Way more fun than it has any right to be, in my opinion, because it is a Tetris Battle Royale game. I'm very bad at it. I don't know if I'll ever win, but I've had a lot of fun with it, so if they can introduce more experiences like this, I think I'm all for it because, it was free. I didn't have to pay anything just because I'm a member. So, right. Yeah, I mean, nothing lost there. And, I've played a couple hours and I've had fun along the way. So, yes, introducing more things like this to incentivize, sticking around is cool. And, when the game first released, there was a bunch of, live streams. I even had fun watching other people play, which, that's a big part of gaming as a whole now. I'm all for it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the idea of the NES games and Tetris 99 that are, you got to subscribe to get them, kind of like an exclusive little club for people that do partake in Nintendo Switch Online. I think that's very cool. I still maintain that there's a very simple solution here, which is to offer a PlayStation Plus / games, with gold type service / offering where you say, hey, this eShop game is free this month, or this, older retail game is free this month. I think that would go a long way to getting people to pay, because the extreme value that we see on the PlayStation side of online and the Xbox side of online is at a far higher price point, and people still feel the value. So at Nintendo's lower $20 a year charge, man, even a game a month would so justify that price, and you're also then getting access to the online, and as the library continues to expand, I really feel like that's just the move. But if they want to do more exclusive offerings and add to this repertoire of we've got NES games, we've got Tetris 99, we've got, partner with another cool dev and get something multiplayer online only for those people, that's cool too. But for Furukawa, I think there's a really easy fix here. Do you agree?
Yeah, I do, and it's I don't want to say impossible. It's really hard for them to just kind of boom, now we're giving big games, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but even eShop though, there's no reason Snake Pass can't be free for the month of May.
I can think of many reasons why Snake Pass shouldn't be free for the month.
I mean, even the year one, just think about games like Graceful Explosion Machine, Mr. Shifty.
Give people snipper clips.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying that the idea that, when you subscribe to Nintendo Switch Online, there are a couple of titles that you get versus the monthly offering. I don't know. I just think people are very accustomed to that plan, and they would like it. Now, let us know in the comments below if you would like that. Would your $20 more easily fly into Furukawa's pockets if you were getting a free game? a month. All right, another person asked, targeting consumers who you have not yet appealed to with the Switch, and why do you think there are certain demographics that you haven't been able to appeal to with Nintendo Switch, and what are they going to do? Furukawa says that the software lineup for Nintendo Switch at launch consisted largely of Nintendo series titles, and in years 2 and 3, they have added a variety of other games from other publishers. But he says that he believes Nintendo themselves still needs to offer new ideas to attract the consumers we haven't been able to appeal to yet. In order to convince those consumers who did not choose to get Nintendo Switch over these past years, I think we need to offer even newer kinds of gaming experiences. Now, this one is interesting to me. Instead of focusing on, hey, bringing in more partners, he puts the onus on Nintendo. And this idea of newer experiences, do you think this just means more of their, line up more of their franchise? Or do you think this is more of a, hey, Labo, VR, branching out to people that aren't pulled by traditional games?
We don't know this, but I wish we knew the demographic, right? Because then we could just very easily tell. But yeah, I don't know what's the demographic that's missing according to whatever question was placed here. I'm sure they have way more context than we do, but if it is families, then yeah, maybe Labo's what he's talking about, stuff like that, and VR being something wholly unique that they've never really done before. I mean, they have Hi Virtual Boy, I see you, but they haven't done before since then, and in this manner. So maybe that, but I'm kind of hoping that they're talking about like the really, really, really hardcore.
Yeah. I think they're probably talking about like just demographics in general of like, hey, people that we don't appeal to, and
yeah,
and
but
one
who
thing
are
that
they?
I kind of read.
No, but go on. I'm sorry.
Well, one thing I kind of read between the lines here is he says Nintendo also needs to offer new ideas to attract the consumers we haven't been able to appeal to yet, and I wonder if this is a subtle hint at hardware iterations. He says newer kinds of gaming experiences, and I don't know that has to mean a bold new kind of game itself, but what if he means something that, hey, is a little bit cheaper, that is a little more portable, that is a little bit more kid-friendly, that's a little bit more family accessible? And in that case, I do wonder if part of that plan could be the, hey, we're not doing it, but everyone says we are, Switch Mini.
Maybe.
All right. The question about sales, of course, was rampant, and their predictions and projections, and if the Switch is peaking. The question was, this fiscal year marks the third for Nintendo Switch. This investor said, I believe it's time for software sales to make a greater contribution to profits. Why did you settle on that level of profits, and what is the positioning of Nintendo Switch third year? Furukawa says, some people may worry that the hardware is going to peak out, but looking at the momentum of Nintendo Switch since the start of the year, that is absolutely not the case. Basically assuring his base that, hey, it's fine, and that their sales of hardware and software are going to continue to grow. And he said he would like it if our financial results outperform the forecast. Surprise.
So he's saying, hey, maybe we didn't forecast anything crazy because last time we didn't quite meet them. This time we want to exceed them, so let's forecast a little lower, maybe.
Exactly. The idea of Switch peaking this year has always seemed odd to me. I don't know. I feel like maybe just based on the hand that is laid on the table, but based on what we feel like they have going on with different iterations, and the projected games lineup, I don't know. Peaking this year just seems. I feel like they can do better than that. So I agree, Furukawa. Nothing to worry about. Next up, talking about expansion into China and expanding the number of people who have access to Nintendo IP, which is interesting to me because Nintendo moving beyond just a game cartridge maker is fascinating. You remember that great Mario Bros. Movie. We've seen the Sonic trailer lately, so that has been in my head a lot. But Furukawa wants to talk about multiple ways of doing this, talking about mobile theme parks and other methods, and that the most important thing is to provide consumers with unique entertainment through our integrated development of hardware and software. At the same time, however, we also make active use of Nintendo IP in other areas, and I am so freaking pumped for Super Nintendo World. I think, honestly, this is one of the biggest things Nintendo has done, even alongside the Switch, at being sort of a resurgence for them into the limelight of success. I really think, man, I'm fully integrated into the world of Disney, right? I spend plenty of time at the parks. I know everything about their merchandise, their food, their plans, their construction. That cultivates so much, not only just like interest and hype, but also I feel attachment. And I really hope that this Nintendo World Park that is going to be rolling out starting next year in Japan and eventually to the other Universal Studios in Hollywood, in Orlando, I really feel like that is going to do a lot for Nintendo for the coming generation and for the coming decade.
Yeah, I don't go to theme parks. I would love to go to the theme park, but you're right. Nintendo is expanding in a lot of ways, right? We've heard of like movie stuff that they want to do. They have a Mario movie like in development. So yeah, I don't know how you have like this many like huge franchises and you don't capitalize. So it makes sense that Nintendo's doing this. And I don't know, maybe I'll tag along one day, Zach, to a park in the United States. I'm not going to Japan.
Oh, I'm going next year.
Yeah, it's far away.
You heard it here first. I'm really excited to go check this out. Like, as a diehard Nintendo fan my whole life, like the fact that they're realizing a Mario Kart attraction in a physical space, a Yoshi ride, and it's just too cool. I have to see it. Like, if I'm saving for any trip or spending on any excursion, it's that, and it's supposed to launch and open before the Olympics next year in Japan. I'm beyond excited. The Mario Kart ride is supposed to be like the pinnacle of theme park
Maybe
rides.
I'll meet up with you since I'll already be at the Olympics competing.
Oh, dude, I forgot about that. The ear-stretching competition is ready for you, Gabe. Go get that gold. No, but, like, just thinking about Nintendo being a vacation destination and then having movies, and, Miyamoto has talked about how that is something that's important to them. It's going to be a dramatically different landscape once you have, hey, the Mario movie's out. Oh, I just got, that on DVD.
And then they have a tie-in, a video game for the movie.
Yeah, but just like, oh, hey, my family's going to Nintendo World. And I don't know that it changes how they, it's not going to make all of a sudden Switch 2 hyper powerful, but I do think just bringing Nintendo to, nowhere near a Disney level, but in the same realm of what Disney does with its properties is, I think, going to be a monumental shift, and it's something that Nintendo has dabbled in the past, with like their Mario and Zelda cartoons, with the Mario movie, even Amiibo I would look to and say, hey, like, here they are expanding into merchandising and toys and how big that was for them. And now you have multiple theme park destinations across the globe, movies, like this could get really, really cool really fast.
Yeah, I agree with you.
All right, why are you doing a closed beta test for Mario Kart Tour, the mobile Mario Kart? And will you be doing beta tests for future mobile games? Furukawa says, no, we won't necessarily do that for every game, but for Mario Kart Tour, we want to have a decent number of consumers. I love that he's just so modest. Not like a ton, not as many, a decent number of consumers playing from the start, so they need to test the game thoroughly and get a lot of feedback. I'm very pumped for Mario Kart Tour. I'm also very nervous. I'm also sad because I don't have an Android, and that beta test.
I can build you an Android. Not an Android phone, an actual Android.
Oh, an actual. Gosh, I didn't know you're so talented. I'm so lucky.
Yeah.
But yeah, the beta, obviously it makes sense, as this one is going to be much more multiplayer connection reliant than their past titles. It only makes sense that they would test it that way. I'm super curious to see what that thing is. It's been delayed. I hope that it is a Mario Kart equivalent for phones, but we shall see.
Yes, we shall.
Last topic that I wanted to highlight here is, hey, Nintendo, are you going to be partaking in cloud gaming, 5G? What are your thoughts on the future of Nintendo's core integrated hardware and software business? Furukawa comes in with my line and says, I don't think games will move to the cloud right now. All games will move to the cloud right now, but the technology is steadily advancing. In the future, I expect that technologies such as the cloud and streaming will evolve further as a way to deliver games to consumers. We must keep up with such changes in the environment. On the other hand, I believe there are core value, the unique entertainment experiences that can only be achieved through the development of integrated hardware and software will further increase in value. Delivering unique entertainment that only Nintendo can create will continue to be our top priority. So hey, no Mario on Stadia is what this sounds like to me.
Yeah, Nintendo's going to keep Nintendoing. They say that they're going to keep up with technology as it advances. 5G is supposed to be ready next year sometime, so for anyone unaware, like, the Switch can't do that right now, as far as I know. Like, I think it just requires new hardware. So I think he's.
I just don't think they care.
Yeah, and he's probably talking about like whatever like next Switch ends up being.
Yeah.
There, I don't know if you remember, but sometime back there was like that quote, or maybe it was a misinterpretation of Nintendo saying that they kind of want to get out of the hardware business. This obviously sounds like they have no interest in getting out of the hardware business, because they say that Nintendo hardware and Nintendo games, that is, what is their, drive going forward. So yeah, while it's cool, cloud gaming and all that, like no one's like super doing it successfully, and for better or worse, Nintendo's not usually, at least Nintendo now, I know Nintendo in the past, they're not with the bleeding edge. That's not what they care about. They want to make games that are fun, and graphical power or the latest in technology isn't necessarily their MO.
Right. And hey, they've tried VR, they're doing weird cardboard construction, but frankly, I'm very glad to hear Furukawa say like, hey, that's cool, and we are going to keep up with it, and we're going to pay attention, but we're still committed to delivering unique experiences that only we can deliver. And at the end of the day, the experience that you play is so much more important than the delivery method, than the bells and whistles surrounding it. And I love that with every other company doing everything they're doing, Nintendo stays so true to that core message. And sometimes we're disappointed that they don't have more power, or the graphics aren't where they could be, or this or that. But like, goodness gracious, I gotta give Furukawa and co a round of applause for saying that like the games, the experiences, is what's most important. And this fanfare over streaming 5G, like even VR, like to me it all evaporates so fast. And what doesn't evaporate, though, are quality gaming experiences and the fun that you can have with those games. So, hey, I love this response. I like what Nintendo's doing in all these responses. I'm pumped for the theme park. I'm excited to see what diverse software offerings they have. If some of that includes a new iteration, great. I do want to point out, Gabe and I were talking about how 5 days before a new 3DS iteration was announced, the 3DS XL, they said, nope, we're not working on anything. So there's a lot of excitement to get ready for, I think, for Nintendo this year. I think they have big plans, some very public and apparent, like Luigi's Mansion 3 and Animal Crossing, some maybe a little bit more private. But let us know your take on all of this. Furukawa given a lot of good responses here to his investors. Anything stand out to you, or anything that irritates you or that you'd want to comment on, we'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. Make sure to hit that like button. If you enjoyed the video, Gabe, do you have any Olympic tips for ear-stretching hopefuls?
No, I mean, if you haven't been training for decades like me when it comes to stretching your ears, you just, I'm sorry, you're out. I'm coming for the gold, and there's nothing you can do to stop me.
You heard it here first. Tokyo 2020, Gabe from SwitchForce, ear-stretching champion. Thank you for being our champions. Have a fantastic day, everybody. Until next time, for myself and Gabe, SwitchForce